In this video, we are going to review the information that we need to know to visualize adding and subtracting linear expressions. And this is the start of section 3.2, and we're focusing on linear expressions. We are going to practice writing algebraic expressions by using algebra tiles. So if we look here, we need to understand what the algebra tiles represent before we can use them. So we can see right here that a variable is a plus, and that is a positive variable. So that would be, for example, in an expression, we would see that positive variable as an x. And now we can look and we can see that a red negative is a negative variable. So we would see that as a minus or a negative x, okay? And then we also see here that we have a plus 1 and a minus 1. And those we would simply see as plus 1 and negative 1. So I'm going to show you an example of how to write an algebraic expression looking at these algebra tiles. So if we look right here, we have a positive variable with 3 plus 1s. So we know that our positive variable is an x, so I simply would write x. And we see here that our positive, we have 1, 2, 3 positive 1s, so that would simply be plus 3. Okay, let's try another one. We can look here and we see that we have 1, 2 positives variables, so we would call that 2x because it's positive. And now we can see that we have 2 negative 1s, so 1, 2. So we would call this minus, we'd call this minus 2. Or we could also call it plus negative 2. Okay, I'm going to show you one more way to write an algebraic expression using algebra tiles. So we're just going to practice again. We can see here that we have 3 positive variables and we have 1 negative variable. And if we look right here, anytime we have a positive and a negative together, it equals a 0 pair. So whether it's a variable or it's the number, if we have a positive and a negative together, so positive and a negative variable, it'll equal 0. Or if we have a positive and a negative number, that would equal 0. So we can see right here that we have a positive and a negative variable. So these two combine to make a 0 pair. So we don't have to worry about that because a plus and a minus variable equals 0. And we can see that we are simply left with 1, 2 positive variables. So I'm going to call that 2x. Next, we'll look at our numbers, and we can see that we have 4 positive ones and we have 2 negative ones. Well, we know that a positive and a negative combined together make a 0 pair. So these two together, positive and a negative, would make a 0. And these two together, positive and negative, would make a 0. And we can see that we are left with 2 positive ones. So we would call that plus 2. Okay, now we are going to practice adding algebraic expressions together using algebra tiles. So we see here, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to add our variables together. Because we are only adding, we can add in any order we'd like. So I can see right here that I have 1, 2 positive variables, so that is going to be my 2x. Next, I will see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positive numbers, and that will be plus 6. So this expression would be 2x plus 6. I have one more example to show you, and I'm going to show you how to take these expressions and turn them into algebra tiles before we add, and then I'm also going to show you how to add them without doing that step. So first, if I'm going to do algebra tiles, I need to look and see how many variables I have. If I look right here, I can see I have 2x, so I'm going to record that as 2 positive variables. Now I'm going to look at the other expression that I'm adding to that, and I'm going to see right here that I have 1 positive variable, so I will record that as 1 positive variable. Now I'm going to look at my numbers for each expression, and in my expression right here, the beginning part, I have 2x plus 1. Well, I see it's a plus 1, so I know that that's a positive 1. And now I look here, and I see that I have a minus 1. So I'm going to record that as a minus 1. Now that I've written both of these expressions in algebra tiles, I can combine to get my simplified expression. If I look here, I have 1, 2, 3 positive variables. So this will be called 3x. And we can see, again, that's 1, 2, 3. So that will be 3x. Next, I need to look at my numbers. And I see that I have a plus 1 and a minus 1. And I know that if I have a positive 1 and a minus 1, that is a 0 pair. And we could see right here, if I have plus 1 and then minus 1, plus 1, minus 1, that equals 0. So my simplified expression is simply 3x. What you guys are going to do now is I want you to work on your record and practice journal. You should be completing the pages that Miss V has assigned to you, and I'll see you tomorrow.